5 years of blood, sweat, and tears. That's what it took to build this place. Every inch of this mansion represents a victory, a milestone in my life. Look at those marble columns, imported from Italy. The landscaping cost me a fortune, but worth every penny. That infinity pool overlooking the valley, that was my vision. I remember when this was just an empty lot. Everyone said I was crazy to build here. Too ambitious, they said, but I knew what this could become. The home theater downstairs, custom designed. The wine cellar holds over 500 bottles a row, all cataloged in my personal app. Technology, integrated into every corner of this place. My father would have been proud. He always told me to build something that would outlast me. A legacy. That's what this is. The neighbors were skeptical at first. Now they can't stop talking about it. The Christmas party I hosted last year, still the talk of the community. Even those stuck-up families on the north side had to admit it was impressive. Each morning, I wake up to that sunrise view through the floor-to-ceiling windows. Sometimes I just stand there, coffee in hand, and think about how far I've come. This house represents everything I've accomplished. Every deal I closed, every risk I took, every sacrifice I made. It all led to this. My sanctuary, my achievement, my home. The custom kitchen where I learned to cook. The study where I close. My biggest deals. The master bedroom with that ridiculous bathtub my ex-wife insisted on. Even that holds memories. You know what's funny? The HOA initially rejected my blueprints, said it was too modern for the neighborhood aesthetic. 3 appeals and 1 very expensive lawyer later, and here we stand. That fountain in the driveway? Hand-carved? The security system? Military grade? I've thought of everything. Sometimes I wonder if I've gone too far, built something too grand. Then I remind myself that this is what success looks like. This is what I've earned. Hold on, how are we? What's this? An envelope. HOA insignia. Probably. Another notice about my hedges being an inch too tall or something equally ridiculous. Wait, there's a handwritten note on it. Your property is under review. Karen. Karen, the new HOA president. What does she mean? Under review. What could possibly... I should open this now. Something doesn't feel right. I should have known something was wrong. The way people avoided eye contact when I walked into the community center this morning. The hushed conversations that stopped when I approached. This was supposed to be a celebration. The annual State of the Community meeting. Usually just updates on landscaping improvements and property values. Nothing serious. Look at Karen up there, always dressed like she's heading to a corporate board meeting. That fake smile, those cold eyes scanning the room. I never trusted her since she took over the HOA presidency last year. She's tapping the microphone now. Everyone's settling in. I'm just here to support the community. Maybe chat with the Johnsons about that charity golf tournament next month. Did she just say my address? Why is she talking about my property? Violations? What violations? My home is immaculate. I've spared no expense on maintenance. She's reading from some document I've never seen before. Community standards from 1978? Those can't still be in effect. No structures exceeding certain dimensions. Restricted roofline configurations. Prohibited modern design elements. This is absurd. Half the homes in this community would violate these so-called standards. Why is everyone just nodding along? Forfeiture? Did she just say forfeiture? She can't be serious. This has to be some kind of sick joke. My fists are clenching involuntarily, blood rushing to my head. I need to stay calm. Think rationally. She's citing amounts now. Retroactive fines. Daily penalties. Accumulated interest. The numbers are astronomical. designed to be impossible to pay. I'm looking around the room. Some neighbors look shocked. Others seem unsurprised, like they knew this was coming. This has to be illegal. The HOA can't just seize private property. Can they? My lawyer would know. I need to call him immediately. Wait, what did she just say about a moving company? Keys. Collected? That's not possible. I have the only set of keys, unless the spare set. In the HOA office safe, for emergencies only. I'd forgotten about those. People are turning to look at me now, some with pity, others with what almost seems like satisfaction. I need to stand up. Challenge this. This is my home we're talking about. My life. My legacy. Wait. Karen's smiling directly at me now. That cold, calculated smile. The keys to my mansion have already been collected. The movers are en route. Right now, this isn't an announcement. This is already happening. I shouldn't be hiding in my own car like this, parked 3 blocks away, watching my home through binoculars like some kind of criminal. But what choice do I have? Those aren't regular movers. Look at them. Too efficient, too organized. More like a tactical unit than a moving company. Black uniforms, earpieces. Who does Karen have connections with? There goes my art collection. The Rothko I spent years tracking down. The sculptures my grandfather left me. All being cataloged and loaded into unmarked vans. Why isn't anyone stopping this? The Richardsons are watching from their porch. Across the street, they can see everything. Not even a phone call to ask if I'm okay. The police? Useless. Said it was a civil matter between me and the HOA. Suggested I take it up with my lawyer, as if this is some parking dispute. 4 hours now. They're still at it. Methodical. Like they've done this before. That's Davidson from the HOA board, directing them to the wine cellar. He's been to my house for dinner. Drank my wine, called me friend. Now he's pointing out where to find my most valuable possessions. Wait, are those construction materials? Why would they need lumber and concrete? This isn't just about removing my belongings. The security cameras. They've disabled them all. My phone access is completely cut off. If I wasn't seeing this with my own eyes, I wouldn't believe it. There's Karen now. Finally showed up to oversee her handiwork, standing in my driveway like she owns the place, looking at her watch, giving orders. I should drive over there, confront them, demand answers. But then what? Get arrested for trespassing on my own property? That would just play into their hands, my neighbors, my community, people I've hosted, helped, celebrated with, all standing by, watching in silence as everything I've built is dismantled before their eyes. Some seem uncomfortable at least. The Millers keep glancing around nervously. The Thompsons just pulled their curtains shut. Cowards. What's that there? Bringing in now? Metal sheets? Chains? They're boarding up my home, sealing it like a tomb. The grand entrance. My custom mahogany doors with hand-forged handles, being chained and padlocked like an abandoned warehouse. Night is falling. Now. Floodlights illuminating the property. The silhouettes of strangers moving through the rooms of my home. Shadows in places where my life used to be. I can't watch this anymore. But I can't look away either. That mansion isn't just a building. It's my life's work, my identity, my future. The last van is pulling away. Karen's getting into her luxury SUV. Is she smiling? Even from here, I can see the satisfaction on her face as she takes one last look at my sealed fortress. They've taken everything, but this isn't over, not by a long shot. 5 days sleeping in hotel rooms, 5 days of unanswered calls to my lawyer, 5 days of watching my life crumble from a distance. The community library? Never thought I'd be spending my evenings here, hidden in the back corner with stacks of HOA records. Most residents don't even know these are public documents. Something isn't adding up. These bylaws Karen cited? They're real, but there's a reason nobody enforces them. Minutes from a 1986 meeting show they were officially superseded, replaced with updated guidelines that my home fully complies with. She had to know this. She's too thorough not to have checked. Look at these financial records. 3 years ago, the HOA was nearly bankrupt. Now, suddenly they're flush with cash. Special assessments, increased dues, unusually high fines collected. Wait, this is interesting. Properties seized in the last 18 months. 4. All high-value homes, all under similar circumstances. Now owned by shell companies? Why didn't I hear about this? Margaret Wilson, the retired board secretary, been avoiding my calls, but I finally cornered her at the supermarket yesterday. The fear in her eyes when I mentioned Karen's name. They altered the records, she whispered. Wouldn't say more. These signatures don't match. Compare the board approvals from 2018 to now. Different handwriting on at least 3 names. Forgeries? The coffee's gone cold. The librarian keeps giving me concerned looks. I must look like hell. Haven't shaved in days. Same clothes since Tuesday. Who benefits from all this? Follow the money. The properties seized, all sold within months at below-market rates to... I need to find the buyer records at County Records Office. Property transfers. Let's see. LLC names mean nothing. Need to find the beneficial owners. Offshore. Accounts. Panama. Cayman Islands. Classic wealth concealment. But there's always a trail if you dig deep enough. These late nights are taking a toll. The hotel room walls closing in. Photos of my home on my phone feel like they're from another lifetime. Wait, this document. Transfer of development rights for the Eastern expansion. Approved unanimously last year, including Karen's signature. But when I spoke against that project at the town hall, she claimed to oppose it. Why the contradiction? The pieces are starting to fit together. Karen, the developer, the sudden HOA cash flow, the targeted seizures of strategic properties. I need to copy these documents, all of them. Build my case methodically. This isn't just about my home anymore. It's about exposing a systematic corruption that threatens the entire community. Someone's knocking. The library closed 20 minutes ago. The librarian must want me to leave. No, that's not the librarian. It's a courier, in uniform. How did they... No, I was here. Delivery for you, sir. Signature required. A sealed envelope. Heavy cardstock. Marked confidential in bold red letters. The courier is already leaving, watching from the corner of his eye as he exits. My hands are shaking as I break the seal. What's this? Photos? Documents? A handwritten note? This could change everything. Can't do this alone. That's the hardest truth I've had to swallow. Me, who's prided himself on self-reliance, on needing no one, on building an empire single-handedly. The photos in that envelope. Damning evidence. Karen at private meetings with developers, offshore bank statements, property assessments with 2 sets of numbers, écru, official and adjusted. But still not enough. Not yet. The Martins were the first to answer my call. Reluctant at first, whispered concerns about retaliation. But their story matched mine. Last year's unexplained fine for their garden renovation. The threats. The sudden approval when they agreed to sell their lakeside access rights. Their living room feels too small for this gathering. 12 neighbors, all with stories, all with fears, all speaking in hushed tones like we're plotting treason instead. Of fighting for our homes, Judge Peterson, retired now, but still respected, leaning forward in his armchair, examining the documents through reading glasses. This constitutes a pattern of organized corruption, he says, voice still carrying that courtroom authority. But proving it will be difficult. These people are careful. The Williamses, that young couple from the north side, I barely know them. She's pregnant, due in months. Fighting back tears as she explains how Karen's sudden special assessment nearly bankrupted them. We almost lost our nursery fund, she says. Her husband's hand tightens around hers. Old Dr. Richards hasn't said a word. Just listening. Taking notes in precise handwriting. Then, suddenly, she tried this with me 3 years ago. I have records, evidence. I never came forward because he looks down, ashamed. I was afraid. One by one, they share. HOA fee disparities, selective enforcement, suspicious property transfers. The pattern is undeniable. Sandra, that meticulous accountant who documented everything, spreads papers across the coffee table. Look at the pattern of homes seized. When you map them against the proposed resort development plan, she connects the dots, literally, forms a perfect perimeter around what would be the centerpiece of a luxury resort. My home, the crown jewel property, the final piece they needed. There's more, Michael from the tennis club says. That conservation land that was mysteriously rezoned last month? Karen's brother-in-law's company bought it the next day. Triple the value, overnight. The energy in the room is changing. Fear giving way to anger. Whispers becoming declarations. Individual grievances becoming collective outrage. We need a plan, Judge Peterson says. Systematic, legal, irrefutable. Rebecca, that quiet paralegal I hardly noticed at community events, speaks up. I work for Sutton and Meyer, corporate litigation. I can get us pro bono representation. This is exactly the kind of case they love. The group nods. Someone brings out a whiteboard, timelines, tasks, assignments. This isn't just commiseration anymore, it's mobilization. My phone buzzes. Unknown number. I step outside to answer. They're watching your meeting, a voice says. No introduction. Security cameras across the street. Karen knows what you're doing. I look up. The streetlight reveals nothing suspicious. Who is this? Someone who knows what she's planning next. Someone who's seen the full development contract. The TE line goes quiet for a moment. She's not stopping with your house. There's a board meeting tomorrow night. Secret vote. 9 more properties targeted for code violations. Emergency seizures authorized under bylaw 17.3. My blood runs cold. How? Do you know this? Because I typed up the paperwork. Meet me at the old boathouse. Midnight. Come alone. The line goes dead. I turn back to the house. Through the window I can see them planning. Organizing, hope returning to their faces. I can't tell them what I just heard. Not yet. Not until I know it's real. But if it is, everything changes tonight. 2 weeks of preparation. Methodical. Precise. Our community transformed into an intelligence operation. The boathouse meeting changed everything. Karen's assistant, Yitu, terrified but determined, brought internal memos. Board meeting minutes never made public. The entire scheme laid bare in black and white. We've established our war room in Dr. Richards' basement. Concrete walls, no windows, no electronic devices allowed inside. Old school security. Judge Peterson coaching us on evidence collection. Chain of custody procedures. What will stand up in court versus what won't. Rebecca's law firm has taken the case, pro bono, their senior partner personally involved now. This is textbook racketeering, he said during our first briefing. Classic RICO case. The Thompson's son, he owes you. That quiet IT specialist, you owe, proving invaluable. He's enhanced the security footage showing Karen accepting packages from developers in the HOA office after hours. Cash payments, no paperwork. My role, bait. Making public appearances. Acting defeated. Broken. Let Karen think she's won completely. Meanwhile, Sandra has infiltrated the weekly HOA administrative meetings, volunteered as assistant secretary. Just trying to be more involved in the community, she told Karen with a smile. Karen bought it. Hubris makes you careless. We've placed recording devices in the community center. Legal in this state for evidence gathering of suspected criminal activity. Judge Peterson confirmed it. The documents are damning. Property assessments doctored. Selective enforcement of rules. Financial records manipulated. Money disappearing into shell companies. Michael from the tennis club recognized one of the developers in our surveillance photos. College roommate. Reached out. Flipped him yesterday. He's agreed to testify about Karen's demands for kickbacks. Wearing a wire to their next meeting. The network keeps growing. 23 households now. Almost a third of the community. Operating. In cells. Need-to-know basis. Some just gathering evidence. Others making strategic connections. A few handling legal preparation. We've identified Karen's inner circle. Davidson, Reynolds, the Barneses, all compromised, all benefiting from the scheme, all leaving evidence trails we're meticulously documenting. Today's breakthrough? County. Records clerk finally granted access to the sealed development plans. Just as we suspected. Luxury resort, golf course, private airstrip, our homes replaced by condominiums for the ultra-wealthy. The timing is crucial now. Karen's moving faster than anticipated. 3 more violation notices issued yesterday. All strategic properties within the development zone. Tonight's the final planning session. Full evidence review, timeline confirmation, role assignments for the public confrontation. My phone buzzes, encrypted message. Urgent, meeting compromised. Abort. Another buzz. Kay knows. Enforcers en route to Richard's house. 10 minutes. The documents. The evidence. Everything we've collected. We need to move now. Judge Peterson's face turns grim as I show him the message. This was always a possibility, he says, his voice steady. Contingency plan, bravo. Now. The community center hasn't been this packed in years. Standing room only. Local news crews setting up in the back, county commissioners in the front row. This isn't just a homeowners meeting anymore. It's a public reckoning. Karen looks confident as always. That tailored suit. That practiced smile. Whispering to Davidson. At the board table. They think this is a routine quarterly meeting. They have no idea what's coming. Our evidence is secured. Multiple copies, multiple locations. Even if they shut this down, the truth survives. Judge Peterson gives me the nod. It's time. My palms are sweating as I approach the microphone during open comments. I'd like to discuss the recent property seizures in our community. Karen's smile doesn't waver. That matter has been settled according to our bylaws. Next speaker, please. Actually, I've been granted extended time by the county prosecutor's office. They're particularly interested in these documents. The projector flickers to life behind me. Rebecca begins the slideshow. Karen's expression freezes. First slide, the original bylaws. Then the falsified versions. Side by side. Discrepancies highlighted in red. Second slide, financial transfers. HOA funds to offshore accounts. Return payments to board members' personal accounts. The gasps from the audience are audible. Karen stands. This presentation is unauthorized and potentially defamatory. I move to Sit down, Karen. Judge Peterson's voice booms from the second row. Or shall we discuss your meeting with Westlake Developers on March 15th? The one where you accepted a cash payment of $75,000. The color drains from her face. Davidson starts gathering his papers, looking for exits. The slideshow continues relentlessly. Property seizure maps overlaid with development plans. Email exchanges with timestamps. Bank. Records. It's all there, methodically presented. Murmurs become shouts, confused neighbors demanding explanations, the board members shifting uncomfortably. This community has been systematically defrauded, I continue, voice growing stronger. Homes seized under false pretenses, millions in property stolen to make way for a resort development that would displace us all. Karen lunges for the microphone. These accusations are baseless. We have always acted within our authority. The crowd erupts. The reporter from Channel 7 is live broadcasting now. County Commissioner Ellis is already on his phone speaking urgently. The full evidence package has been delivered to the district attorney's office this morning, Rebecca announces, taking over the presentation. Civil and criminal proceedings are being initiated as we speak. Karen's composure cracks completely. You have no proof of anything. This is a vindictive campaign by disgruntled. The video begins playing on the screen. Karen in her office. Counting cash. Explicit conversation about property seizures and developer kickbacks. Her own voice damning her. The room falls silent. The evidence is overwhelming. Undeniable. For a moment, it seems like justice has arrived. The board members won't meet anyone's eyes. Karen stands isolated at the center of a storm of her own making. Then, her lawyer rushes in, whispers urgently in her ear, hands her a document. Karen's expression shifts, from defeat to something else, a calculating look I recognize all too well. "Ladies and gentlemen," she says, voice suddenly steady, "I'd like to present evidence that calls into question the legality of this entire investigation." She holds up the document like a shield. The crowd goes quiet. What trick does she still have left to play? The courtroom feels too small for what's at stake. Standing room only every day of this 3-week trial. National media now. Corruption in paradise. They're calling it. Karen sits with her legal team. 4 high-priced attorneys, designer suit, perfect posture, still playing the role of the wronged community servant. Our table is just as formidable now. District attorney personally handling the case. Our evidence meticulously organized in labeled binders. 27 community members prepared to testify. The judge's gavel silencing the room. Court is now in session. The technical testimony has been grueling. Forensic accountants tracing money trails, digital experts authenticating recordings, property assessors confirming manipulated valuations. Karen's defense strategy is clear now. Claim ignorance of the details. Blame rogue board members. Present herself as another victim. It's not working. Davidson broke first. Turned state's evidence. For a reduced sentence. His testimony yesterday was devastating. Every illicit meeting, every forged document, every bribe detailed with damning precision. The community has rallied beyond our expectations. Donations covering legal costs, meals provided for witnesses, child care arranged for families during court sessions. My testimony today, 3 hours on the stand. Karen's attorney aggressive, searching for inconsistencies, finding none. The timeline is ironclad. The evidence overwhelming. The real estate developer testified this morning. Confirmed the master plan. Luxury resort. Where our homes now stand. $50 million in projected profits. 10% allocated for community relations. A users. Their euphemism for bribes. Judge Thompson isn't hiding his disgust. His questions increasingly pointed as the evidence mounts. So, to be clear, the HOA bylaws were selectively enforced only against properties needed for this development? Karen's face remains impassive. Even now, no remorse, no acknowledgement of the lives disrupted, the trust violated, the community destroyed. Closing arguments tomorrow. The district attorney confident. Textbook case of organized corruption and abuse of power, he tells us during the recess. The jury has everything they need. My home still stands empty, sealed, waiting, a monument to injustice that may soon become a symbol of restoration. The E. Community has already voted to dissolve the current HOA structure, replace it with an elected council with term limits, transparent accounting, community oversight. Tomorrow this ends. Justice arrives. My home returns. Karen faces consequences. Or so we thought. As we prepare to leave for the day, unexpected commotion at the courtroom doors. A courier pushing through the crowd, envelope in hand, approaching the judge's bench with urgency. The judge's expression changes as he reads the contents, calls both legal teams to approach. Hushed, intense conversation, the district attorney's shoulders tensing, Karen's lead attorney suddenly smiling. The judge addresses the court. We will recess until tomorrow morning while I review this new evidence that has just been presented. What new evidence? After all this time? All our preparation? The district attorney's expression is grim as he returns to our table. We have a problem, he whispers. A serious problem. The document suggests a connection no one saw coming. A conspiracy larger than we imagined. Players we never suspected. This fight isn't over yet, not by a long shot.